Alright everyone, welcome to 5 tips on how to play killer in Dead by Daylight. I've been playing Dead by Daylight since 2020. I started back on console, on PS4, and a year later in 2021 I built my custom PC and I've been playing ever since. I have about 2,000 hours in Dead by Daylight so far. Now I know I'm not the best killer in the game, I know I'm not the best Dead by Daylight player in general. However, I've been playing for a little while and I thought I would give you guys this video. So without further ado, here are 5 tips on how to play killer in Dead by Daylight. Tip number 1, no matter what, wherever you are, whenever you down a survivor, look toward a wall, or at least look away from other survivors. Guys, ooh, someone else will make it. When you load into a lobby, you will see 4 other survivors. No matter what, if those survivors do not have a flashlight or some other saving device in their hand, always pick up facing a wall or facing away from the survivors. The reason I say this is because a lot of survivors are very sneaky. They can be very quiet, and there are many different forms of looting on the map that someone can gain a flashlight or some other saving device like a flashbang. Always face toward a wall or away from the survivors no matter what. Whenever you down a survivor, make sure you have a sense on where other survivors are so you can at least flip your mouse or controller 180 and pick up that survivor. So if there happens to be someone behind you with a flashlight, that survivor at least has some time to run right in front of you to try their best to save that survivor. So it gives you more time to react and face your mouse or controller away from said survivor so they don't get that save and you drop that survivor. So always face toward a wall or away from other survivors. Tip number 2, and this tip will come with time, practice, and patience, like many of my tips that you will hear in this video, but do your best to pay attention. Don't play Dead by Daylight with tunnel vision. You know, don't play Dead by Daylight just with one sole objective, right? You always want to pay attention to how survivors are playing. And again, this will take time. Some survivors will constantly pre-drop pallets, right? Some survivors will constantly vault walls. Some survivors will constantly hold W or constantly just keep moving forward and not looking behind them. There's so many different ways that you can play this game, which is great, but do your best to pay attention on how each survivor is playing so you as a killer can do your best to counter that survivor so you can get that hit and eventually get that down so you can get that hook. Because at the end of the day, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, a single hook is a lot better than a single down. Tip number 3, and again, this will come with time and practice and patience, but know when to drop chase and know when to chase a survivor. For example, if you have 2 generators left on the map, which means that there are 3 generators that have already been completed, and a survivor is chasing you into a dead zone, i.e. into an area where other generators are already completed, you might not want to chase that survivor. You might want to drop that chase and go toward uncompleted generators where other survivors potentially, most likely, will be. Depending upon how you're playing and how other survivors are playing, do your best to know when to drop chase and know when to chase survivors. Survivors will try to distract you. Some survivors will try to make you a little grumpy during the game by teabagging and clicking their flashlight and all that stuff to get you to chase them. Do your best to ignore all of that and drop that chase when need be. Tip number 4, there are hundreds of perks in this game by now, both on killer and survivor side. Tip number 4, do your best to learn all survivor and killer perks. Now, you don't really have to learn every single perk in the game. Eventually you will. By playing the game so much, you will eventually learn a lot of the survivor and killer perks. I don't know all of the survivor perks quite yet, and I don't even know all of the killer perks, to be honest, but do your best to learn as many as you can. There are hundreds of perks in this game, and the good news is that on both killer and survivor side, there are a lot of meta perks that you will see pretty constantly in your Dead by Daylight games. Perks like Lithe, Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, Decisive Strike, Dead Hard, so many. Barbecue and Chili, the list goes on. You will see a lot of these perks in your games. And once you get a good feel on what these perks are and what these perks do, you will have a better sense on how to counter these perks as killer. So tip number 4, do your best to learn as many of the killer and survivor perks that you can. And last but not least, know where survivors are in the map. As soon as you spawn in to the map, the survivors are ideally going to be as far away from you as possible, so your best bet is to go completely across to the other side of the map to find that first survivor to chase. There are 4 survivors in the map. Once you chase one, that means that there are 3 survivors left, doing God knows what, looting, completing a generator, going for the save, etc., etc. So do your best to know where survivors are. Like I said at the beginning of the video, try not to play this game with tunnel vision. Do not play this game with blinders on. Because if you do that, and if you have just this one goal this entire game, you will lose your game. So do your best to know where survivors are at all times. Aura rating perks will definitely help you. There are 4 survivors total in the game. Once you down a survivor, that leaves 3 survivors left in the game, doing God knows what, trying to save that survivor, looting, completing generators, etc., etc. So sometimes you might need to slug, what's called slugging, basically when you leave a survivor down on the ground for a period of time, and you go and chase other survivors, or you go and chase other survivors to complete your objective. Let's say you down a survivor, and you see another survivor near you, potentially trying to save. You can chase that survivor. That leaves 2 other survivors that are somewhere else on the map. One survivor might be coming to come and save that downed survivor. So again, that leaves only potentially maybe even 1 survivor on the map doing a generator or trying to complete their objective. So tip number 5, do your best to know where survivors are at all times. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I stream on Twitch approximately 3 nights a week, twitch.tv/I'mYourGhostHost. Link is in the description down below, along with my social media if you'd like to follow. I would love to see you all in the channel. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or video ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments. I would love to hear your feedback. Once again, thank you all for watching. I will see you guys next time. Happy Friday. Be good people, make good choices, and use your blinker. I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.